Why can a sincere word resolve conflict, while a careless remark might ignite a war? Marshall Rosenberg's Nonviolent Communication, A Language of Life shows us, through over 30 years of practice, that communication is not just an art of words but a bridge to connect hearts. This book isn't abstract theory, it's a practical guide that has transformed countless relationships, families, and even international conflicts. Let's step into the world of nonviolent communication to learn how empathy can dissolve barriers and sincerity can rebuild connections. The magic of nonviolent communication. In our fast-paced modern world, misunderstandings and conflicts are everywhere. A single criticism can destroy a friendship, and a heated argument can tear a family apart. Marshall Rosenberg's Nonviolent Communication is like a guiding light, piercing through the fog of communication. Since its first publication in 1999, it has sold over 10 million copies worldwide, been translated into more than 30 languages, and touched everyone from homemakers to international mediators. It's not just a set of communication skills, it's a life philosophy that teaches us to stay authentic in conflicts and build connections amid differences. At its core is empathy, not just saying kind words but truly understanding our own and others' inner needs. Rosenberg sums it up: when we listen with our hearts, the world changes. Whether it's tense workplace negotiations, a cold war between spouses, or international peace talks, nonviolent communication offers a solution that transcends culture and language. Its magic lies in its simplicity yet profundity. Through 4 steps: observation, feelings, needs, and requests, we can defuse hostility and restore trust. Why does this book resonate so deeply? It touches our deepest desires: to be understood, respected, and loved. Rosenberg's approach not only resolves conflicts but helps us understand ourselves better, finding inner peace. It shows us that communication is not just about expressing, it's about connecting with ourselves, others, and the world. We'll start with the theory behind nonviolent communication, explore its core framework, see how to apply it in daily life, uncover its lessons for modern society, and envision how it can shape a more harmonious future. Let's follow Rosenberg's guidance and spark a revolution in communication. The roots and relevance of nonviolent communication. To understand nonviolent communication, we need to explore its theoretical roots and historical context. Marshall Rosenberg, an American psychologist, began studying how communication can resolve hostility in the racially charged 1962 United States. Growing up in Detroit's poor neighborhoods, he witnessed racial riots as a child, which led him to ponder the roots of violence and conflict. As a student of Carl Rogers' humanistic psychology, he wove empathy and self-awareness into his communication practices, forming the foundation of nonviolent communication (NVC). The 1960s in America were a time of intense social upheaval. Civil rights movements, anti-war protests, and feminist activism clashed, leaving society divided. Rosenberg saw that conflicts often stemmed not from competing interests but from misunderstandings and hostility in communication. Inspired by Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy of nonviolence, he coined nonviolent communication to break down psychological barriers through sincerity and empathy. Gandhi once said, "Nonviolence is the greatest force at the disposal of mankind." Rosenberg turned this into a practical communication tool to foster peace in everyday life. The theory blends humanistic psychology, which values human worth and self-actualization, with existentialism, which emphasizes the freedom of choice. Rosenberg believed every word and reaction in communication is a deliberate choice shaping our relationships. In a real case, he once mediated a racial conflict, helping 2 opposing sides sit down and talk by listening to their needs. This showed NVC is not just a personal tool but a key to social harmony. In today's globalized world, NVC's relevance is even greater. The internet age amplifies misunderstandings and conflicts through information overload. Social media spats, workplace tensions, and family rifts all demand better communication. Rosenberg's approach, born in the 20th century, offers solutions for our digital 21st century. Martin Luther King Jr.'s nonviolent resistance, emphasizing dialogue over confrontation, echoes NVC's principles. Rosenberg brought this spirit to daily life, empowering ordinary people to be peacemakers. Culturally, NVC transcends East and West. In China, Confucianism's emphasis on harmony and Taoism's non-confrontational Wu Wei align with NVC's focus on empathy. Rosenberg's wife, Yang Rosenberg, noted that during their work in China, many resonated naturally with the ideas of listening and respect. This cultural harmony has made NVC fertile ground in China. Rosenberg's personal struggles also shaped NVC. He admitted that his early failures in relationships, due to poor communication, drove him to study psychology and learn from diverse cultures worldwide. In African tribal mediations, he observed how collective listening resolved disputes, inspiring him to integrate empathy into NVC. His global perspective made NVC a universal tool, adaptable across cultures. The psychological advancements of the late 20th century also supported NVC. Cognitive behavioral therapy (CBT), pioneered by Aaron Beck, emphasizes changing thought patterns to improve emotions, while NVC reshapes communication to transform relationships. Rosenberg once noted that Beck's CBT inspired him to focus on the power of mindful language. This blend of science and practice gives NVC both depth and practicality. Through this lens, NVC is more than a psychological tool, it's a response to the modern crisis of communication. Its roots lie in a yearning for peace, and its growth addresses today's challenges. Next, we'll dive into its core framework and explore how its 4 steps can transform communication. The 4 steps of nonviolent communication. NVC's core lies in 4 steps: observation, feelings, needs, and requests. These steps, though simple, hold profound psychological insights, offering a path out of conflict. Let's break them down with examples to see how they work. Observation. Describe without judgment. The first step, observation, involves describing facts objectively, without evaluation. Instead of saying, "You're always late and irresponsible," say, "I noticed you arrived at the meeting at 9:30, half an hour after the start time." The former accuses and provokes. The latter states facts, paving the way for dialogue. In the book, Rosenberg shares a case of a mother frustrated by her child's messy room. Instead of saying, "You're so lazy," she said, "I see clothes scattered on the floor and books piled on the desk." This approach made her child feel respected, not attacked. Psychologist Carl Rogers, known for unconditional positive regard, used similar non-judgmental listening, aligning with NVC's observation step. The challenge is resisting the urge to judge. Neuroscience shows that the brain's amygdala triggers emotional reactions during conflict. NVC's objective descriptions calm these reactions, creating space for rational dialogue. Rosenberg once guided a teacher dealing with a disruptive student. Instead of saying, "You're so rude," she said, "I noticed you were talking loudly in class." This made the student more open to feedback. Feelings. Express your emotions. The second step, feelings, involves honestly sharing your emotions without blaming others. Instead of saying, "You make me angry," say, "I feel angry because I value punctuality." This shifts the focus to your experience, avoiding hostility and fostering sincerity. In a community dispute Rosenberg mediated, 2 neighbors fought over a parking spot. He guided one to say, "When I see your car in my spot, I feel frustrated." This opened the door to listening rather than arguing. Nelson Mandela, in South Africa's reconciliation efforts, often expressed feelings like sadness over injustice, aligning with NVC's approach to connect through vulnerability. Expressing feelings takes courage, as it requires revealing vulnerability. Psychologist Brené Brown's research shows vulnerability strengthens connections, and NVC's feelings step breaks down barriers through honest emotion. In one case, Rosenberg helped a husband say, "When you don't reply to my messages, I feel lonely." This touched his wife, who opened up about her stress, repairing their bond. Needs. Uncover the root of conflict. The third step, needs, involves identifying the deeper needs behind emotions. Rosenberg believed all emotions stem from unmet needs: anger from a need for respect, anxiety from a need for safety. Clarifying needs moves conflicts from surface arguments to core issues. In a workplace example, an employee felt upset by a boss's criticism. Instead of saying, "You're too harsh," he said, "When I hear your criticism, I feel unsettled because I need recognition." This led the boss to adjust their approach. Steve Jobs, reflecting later in life, admitted his harsh management stemmed from a need for perfection, ignoring his team's need for respect and insight NVC could have clarified earlier. Identifying needs requires self-awareness, which Rosenberg suggested cultivating through meditation or journaling, akin to mindfulness practices. In one case, a mother angry at her disobedient daughter realized her need was for connection, not control, transforming their communication. Requests: propose clear, future-focused actions. The fourth step, requests, involves making specific, doable suggestions without demanding. Instead of saying, "You must be on time," say, "Would you be willing to arrive by 9 o'clock next time?" This respects the other's autonomy, increasing cooperation. In a school conflict, Rosenberg guided a student to say, "When there's a lot of homework, I feel stressed because I need rest. Would you discuss adjusting the assignments?" The teacher, moved, made changes. Oprah Winfrey's interviewing style, using open questions like "Would you share your feelings?" mirrors NVC's request step, inviting openness. Requests must be specific and non-coercive, aligning with behavioral economics nudge theory to encourage voluntary cooperation. In a neighborhood dispute, Rosenberg's request, "Would you work together on parking rules?" led to collaboration. These four steps: observation, feelings, needs, requests form a cohesive framework, simple yet transformative. Next, we'll explore how to apply them in real life, applying nonviolent communication in practice. NVC's true power lies in its application across family, work, societal conflicts, and personal growth. Let's explore its use in these contexts with examples. Family relationships, healing intimate conflicts. Families are hotbeds for conflict, where misunderstandings between parents, children, or spouses thrive. NVC rebuilds connections through empathy. In one case, Rosenberg helped a father upset by his son's gaming addiction. Instead of saying, "You're wasting your life," he said, "I see you playing games late at night, and I feel worried because I want you to have a healthy life. Would you talk about your thoughts?" This respect opened a dialogue, and they reached an agreement. Chinese author Yu Hua shared how he resolved tensions with his son by listening to his need for autonomy, improving their bond. NVC in families hinges on dropping judgment and connecting through empathy. Another Chinese writer, Jia Pinghua, noted that listening to his daughter's needs turned her rebellion into openness. In a couple's dispute over chores, Rosenberg guided the wife to say, "When I see dishes piling up, I feel exhausted because I need support. Would you take on dishwashing once a week?" The husband, understanding her strain, agreed. Psychologist John Gottman's research on successful marriages emphasizes emotional connection, which NVC steps facilitate. The marriage of Chinese author Lao Shi and Hu Jiqing, built on mutual respect and listening, reflects NVC principles in action. Workplace communication, boosting collaboration. Workplace conflicts often arise from stress and miscommunication. NVC fosters trust and efficiency. Rosenberg helped a team where an employee felt interrupted. She said, "When I'm interrupted in meetings, I feel disrespected because I need to express my ideas. Would you let me finish next time?" Her colleague adjusted, improving the team dynamic. Google's former executive Laszlo Bock emphasized psychological safety, encouraging open expression, much like NVC. NVC also sparks creativity. In a case, Rosenberg guided a sales manager to say to an upset client, "I hear your dissatisfaction, and I feel regret because I want you to have a great experience. Would you share the specific issue?" This led to a collaborative solution. In manager-employee dynamics, Rosenberg helped a manager address an employee's withdrawal. "I notice you're quiet in meetings, and I feel puzzled because I want an active team. Would you share your thoughts?" The employee opened up about stress, leading to workload adjustments. Huawei's founder Ren Hengfei's practice of listening to employees aligns with NVC, strengthening team unity. Societal conflicts, fostering peaceful dialogue. NVC shines in resolving societal conflicts. Rosenberg mediated Israeli-Palestinian community talks, guiding a Palestinian to say, "When I see checkpoints, I feel fear because I need safety and freedom." An Israeli soldier responded, "I feel pressure because I need to protect my community." This opened a path to temporary agreements. South Africa's Truth and Reconciliation Commission, led by Mandela and Desmond Tutu, used similar principles, letting victims and perpetrators share feelings to foster healing. In Northern Ireland, Rosenberg's NVC training helped negotiators express peace needs, leading to partial ceasefires. On social media, Rosenberg suggested responding to hostility with, "I see your strong comments, and I feel uneasy because I want respectful dialogue." Would you share your perspective? Taiwanese author Lin Licking uses gentle responses to diffuse online criticism, embodying NVC's empathy, personal growth, from communication to self-awareness. NVC also fosters personal growth by clarifying emotions and needs. Rosenberg helped a young professional say, "When work piles up, I feel anxious because I need balance." This led to better workload management. Author Lung Ying Tai, in Dear Andreas, shared how listening to her son's needs deepened her self-understanding. Rosenberg said, "Every conversation is a chance to talk with yourself." NVC reveals personal blind spots, guiding growth. Its practice demands patience and persistence, shifting from judgment to listening, transforming both outcomes and inner states. Lessons for modern life. Nonviolent communication is more than a technique, it's a way of life. It teaches that communication is about connection with ourselves, others, and the world. In our fast-paced, high-stress world, NVC offers 4 key lessons: self-awareness, respect for others, creating harmony, and shaping the future. Self-awareness, finding inner peace. NVC starts as a dialogue with oneself. Rosenberg stressed that all conflicts stem from unmet needs. Asking, "Why am I angry? What do I need?" helps us step back from emotional turmoil and find calm. Entrepreneur Jack Ma shared how reflecting on his stress helped him manage with more composure, aligning with NVC's self-awareness. This mirrors mindfulness practices, calming inner conflicts. A mother, guided by Rosenberg, found her anger at her child's rebellion stemmed from a need for closeness, transforming their interactions. Respecting others, building true connection. NVC's heart is empathy, understanding, not necessarily agreeing with others. Rosenberg said, "Empathy is about understanding, not endorsing." Listening to a child's rebellion or a colleague's complaints reveals their needs, fostering connection. Oprah Winfrey's empathetic interviews make guests feel seen, mirroring NVC's power. Rosenberg's mediation of a family dispute turned hostility into cooperation through mutual listening, creating harmony, from individuals to society. NVC's ultimate goal is harmony, from personal relationships to societal change. Rosenberg's work shows empathy can open dialogue even in fierce conflicts. Gandhi's nonviolent resistance, using dialogue for India's independence, reflects NVC's spirit. Rosenberg's guidance in international talks fostered cooperation by focusing on shared peace needs. We can all be peacemakers, starting with a kind word or a listening ear, shaping the future, communication's lasting impact. NVC resolves present conflicts and plants seeds for a harmonious future. Rosenberg's school programs reduced bullying by teaching empathy. Maria Montessori's education, emphasizing respect, aligns with NVC's focus on fostering empathy in children. NVC's ripple effect can reshape families, workplaces, and global relations. It reveals communication's power to uncover humanity's beauty. As Rosenberg said, "When we listen with our hearts, the world changes." Let's start now, using nonviolent communication to transform ourselves and the world.